And if I...
So you just use that one for that.
Okay. Great.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you, Nicola. Well, I feel like a complete fraud here, actually. All you people interested in marketing. I would class my marketing sort of expertise as that, really. I'm a building surveyor. So I've been responsible for the redevelopment of the Baltic Creative space here in the Baltic Triangle. And I guess all I want to do really is share that story, what we've done, and then also share a little bit at the start really about the area. For people who don't know the Baltic Triangle, it's had a bit of a renaissance in the last 5 or 6 years. Obviously this fantastic building was built a few years back. Lots of activity happening out of this place. Other venues, Camp and Furnace, obviously the elevator building, a studio school, life sciences school. All these things sort of, you know, from a standing start 6, 7 years ago of nothing really much happening to a fair bit of activity. Baltic Creative's played a role in that, but it's only been part of the story really. But it's the part of the story that I'm sort of responsible for with our board. So I'll share that story with you, and hopefully you'll be able to pick up sort of in what we've done, you know, the marketing sort of tips, if you like. But I'm certainly no marketing expert, so I'll be challenged at any point by anyone, and I won't have an answer, I guess. So yeah, so 2 hats for me: managing director of Baltic Creative, and chair of and director of the Baltic Triangle area company. The best way to explain the area really is to just show you a short film. For people who haven't seen, just that should do it. Is that okay? So for people who sort of might not know the Baltic Triangle, this film, it's only a couple of minutes, sort of articulates really some of the businesses involved, some of the places and stuff. So we'll try and play that for you. What was great about that film sort of 2.5 years ago was that 25, 26, 27 businesses engaged in the process of producing that film. No money exchanged hands, but they were just keen to produce something that we could share with people really. So as a marketing tool, it's actually been really good for me as chair of the area group and as you know, as manager of Baltic Creative, to use that as a tool to sort of sell a little bit about the sort of feeling, you know, the vibe about the area really. And I use that quite a bit. It needs updating. A lot of those images were around sort of pop-up, drive-through, flexible type space. As the area is becoming established now, it's more permanent really. Investments coming in, and obviously buildings are getting built, and it's having a more permanent feel. One of the challenges for the area, I guess, over the next few years is how we sort of how we manage that investment really, to make sure it doesn't drown out some of the good stuff that's already happened. So that's a big challenge and something we're working on. In the area, there's probably 350, 360 businesses, if not more now, supporting probably about 2,000 people in work. There is an emerging sort of creative and digital cluster in the area. There was a Tech City report produced only in the last week or two. I think that refers to 112% growth in the tech sector in Liverpool over the last 12 months. So that's exponential growth, only you know, second in the country in terms of growth in the sector. So there's a massive opportunity for us here in the Triangle to sort of take advantage of that growth really, when we're looking at other developments and we're thinking about, you know, providing additional space really. So we see that as a big opportunity for us, and we're working on that. Baltic Creative certainly is working on that as a commercial landlord to see if we can provide additional footprint really. And it might not just be here in the Baltic Triangle, it could be elsewhere in the city really. So we're thinking about that. As an area, what we did was sort of 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago actually, was we sort of got organised. We as a group of businesses who used to go and sort of meet in Liverpool Vision's office, and we'd sit there and all moan about the parking in the area and spend an hour and a half doing that. Thankfully we got through that conversation, and a system was introduced for the area. But what we did at that point was sort of get to know each other really and communicate with each other and begin to understand sort of what the issues were for the area. And on the back of that, we began to develop a vision really for the Baltic Triangle. So that was an interesting process because it was private sector led. It was, you know, they put tea and coffee on at Liverpool Vision, but it was the businesses who were beginning to develop the vision really. We in the end sort of took it out of Vision's offices, brought it to the area, the space was getting developed, and we continue to meet. We've probably got about 300, I think it's about 280 companies registered. We get to see 40 businesses every sort of 4 to 6 weeks. And we continue to talk about sort of, you know, the issues and how we can manage and develop the area. Things that we're looking at the moment are things like neighbourhood planning and stuff like that. It potentially got a role to play, maybe not, we don't know yet. But there's lots of opportunity for us as a group to try and shape the investment as it comes into the area. Other things we did, obviously on the back of the Vision Manifesto that was produced by the businesses, we set up a business, we drew up a business plan, we developed a green travel plan for the area, we incorporated the company, set up the bank account, set all the social media and website stuff up, started to, you know, we had a launch event, we have social evenings, Baltic Creative runs a load of things, the other venues do the same. So we sort of do stuff really. I guess there's, you know, by doing stuff, you're sort of selling it really. There's no, what's the strategy for that? I don't know. I'm not a marketeer. We just do lots of stuff really, and that sort of gets it out there. It's exciting. There's still lots for us to do in the area, but I think when we think about next steps, you know, there are some challenges really, and I'm not sure what all the answers are, but we certainly need to be thinking about providing additional footprint I mentioned and supporting the growth of the creative and digital sector. What the film shows you is that it's not just creative and digital industries though. You know, we've got a green butty van outside Unit 51 Cafe who sell lattes, but the green butty man's doing a sausage on toast. He's every right to be there, he was there first. So, you know, there's a place for everyone here really, bakers, brewers and, you know, industry and all sorts really. There's no intention of the area to sort of gentrify as far as we're concerned and sort of push that sort of traditional industry out. It's about accommodating that and growing with it really, giving them the opportunity to grow. So that's the area quickly. Baltic Creative, the commercial landlord, our Sheds in Sheds, if a few of you have seen it. We're just on Jamaica Street. Was referred to as the Jordan Street Industrial Estate. When we took them on in 2009, I remember 18 warehouses, the rain leaking in. I think I had 4 tenants when we took the buildings on, and we had a process really where it was sort of a 3-year refurbishment program. We've in the end created 44 spaces. One of the biggest sort of opportunities that we sort of explored was about, or the important things we did, I guess, was about how we were managing the space. So developing the space, creating a cool environment that's sort of in keeping with the sector. You know, how we did that, well, I'll talk about in a sec, but it's the important thing is not just how you get to the point where you've built it, but also how you then manage it and how you continue to engage with the community that you're trying to work with really. And we've done that in different ways and we continue to do it in different ways. So that's the company, 2 members of staff, a volunteer board. We're reinvesting our surpluses back into either the buildings, the tenants or the sector, which makes us different than other commercial landlords and is one of our biggest unique selling points. And we're talking now about whether or not we need a community investment company, so we might transfer pots of money every year into a community investment company which then invests into whatever it feels is appropriate to invest in on the basis that it supports and underpins the creative and digital sector. Very quickly, marketing, what did we do? We networked, we used the existing contacts we had through the board of directors. We defined our network. So we didn't just go and network blindly. We knew we had to support creative and digital industries. We examined what networks were out there, working with creative and digital industries, and we got in there and I spent 2 years sharing our story, sharing the journey, and also given those networks an opportunity to comment on the space that we were going to deliver. I wrote my dissertation back in 1996 on tenant participation in design. What does that mean? Tenant participation in design. It means getting the end user involved. That's it. So I've took that into everything that I've ever done really in terms of work, and I've done it with Baltic Creative Space. We spoke to the end user 2.5 years before we gave them the space, and we engaged them in the process, and we had showcase events, and we spoke to businesses regularly, and we were speaking to potential clients, and some of them helped us design and fit out their spaces so that when they moved in, it was the right space for them. So it's about tenant, for me, back to it's sort of tenant participation really in the process, or you know, for you guys, your clients, getting involved as early as you can so that they help shape what it is you do for them really. What else? Put a face to the company. Really important. Builds trust. Gives people the opportunity to connect and feel that they're not dealing with a faceless sort of bureaucracy. Actually meeting people, talking to them, sounds simple, but it's incredibly important. And use all media. There was a time where we were a bit sort of afraid of social media. I don't know why. I guess that's my property background. Techie, commercial, you know, social communication. If you say something, they can get you on it. You know, that attitude. It's like, but actually, it's incredibly powerful for us, social media, and we have a guy who works with me, Chris, who does a fantastic job sharing all of our businesses' stories, events, successes. It's incredibly powerful in terms of positioning us in the property sector as a business that supports creative and digital industries. So I would always say, use it. Challenges and ops, last slide. Very quickly, big challenge to retain the vision of the Baltic Triangle, continue to develop relationships with private investors, private developers. Agency relationships are always hard and difficult conversations to have, but we need to continue to work with the agencies, local and regional, because it's important to sort of maintain momentum really. What would you do? I don't know. I'm not sure what I'll do yet, but we'll find a way, I'm sure. So. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.